You might think your morning routine is fueling your day, but what if it's actually draining your energy before you even step out the door? After 50, your body processes certain foods very differently. What once felt harmless could now be spiking your blood sugar, slowing your metabolism, and setting you up for a crushing energy slump by mid-morning. And here's the kicker. Two of these foods are often labeled as healthy. In the next few minutes, you'll uncover the 3 breakfast foods you must avoid for steady energy, sharper focus, and a stronger, more resilient body. After 50, the way your body handles food changes in ways you can feel, sometimes in ways you don't notice until the effects build up. One of the biggest shifts is a naturally slower metabolism. The same breakfast that worked for you in your 30s or 40s can now leave you feeling sluggish and unfocused. That's because your body burns calories more slowly, which means quick-burning fuels, like refined carbs or sugary drinks, tend to flood your bloodstream with glucose all at once. Instead of giving you steady energy, they create a sharp spike followed by a crash. Hormonal changes add another layer to the equation. In women, menopause often brings lower estrogen and progesterone levels, which can affect how your body regulates blood sugar and stores fat. In men, testosterone levels decline gradually, impacting muscle maintenance and overall stamina. Both men and women may notice more difficulty bouncing back from poor food choices, simply because the body's internal balance is more sensitive now. Muscle mass also naturally declines with age, unless you take steps to preserve it through diet and activity. Less muscle means your body is less efficient at using glucose for fuel, which makes blood sugar swings more pronounced. That's why stable, balanced energy in the morning becomes more important than ever. It's not just about avoiding the crash. It's about protecting your metabolism, brain function, and long-term health. The truth is, breakfast can be your biggest ally or your biggest enemy. A balanced morning meal, rich in protein, healthy fats, and slow-digesting carbs, can keep your energy smooth for hours. But the wrong choices can sabotage you before the day even starts. And here's where it gets tricky. Many of the foods marketed as healthy breakfast options are actually loaded with hidden sugars or refined grains that act just like sugar in your body. A glass of orange juice, a bowl of whole grain cereal, or a slice of white toast might sound innocent, even virtuous. But for someone over 50, these choices can quietly drain your vitality and make you feel older than you are. Understanding how these foods affect you is the first step toward reclaiming your morning energy. And it's exactly what we're about to uncover next. Let's start with one that catches almost everyone off guard: fruit juice. Yes, even the fresh squeeze kind you make at home. It's easy to think of juice as the healthiest way to start your morning. After all, it's made from fruit, right? But here's the truth. The moment you turn fruit into juice, you strip away one of the most important parts: fiber. Fiber is what slows down the absorption of sugar in your bloodstream. It's nature's built-in speed bump, keeping your blood glucose from spiking too high or too fast. When you remove that fiber, you're left with a concentrated shot of fruit sugar, fructose, and glucose, delivered directly into your system. That rush feels good for a little while, but it comes at a cost. Within an hour or two, your energy levels crash, leaving you feeling more drained than when you woke up. Here's why that matters even more after 50. As we age, our bodies become less efficient at clearing glucose from the blood. This is partly due to a natural decline in insulin sensitivity, the ability of your cells to respond to insulin and take in that sugar for fuel. When insulin sensitivity drops, your blood sugar stays elevated for longer, which not only triggers fatigue, but also puts extra strain on your pancreas, the organ responsible for producing insulin. Over time, repeated spikes like this can lead to more serious metabolic issues, including prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. Juice also skips the chewing process, which may sound minor, but it actually matters. Chewing signals your digestive system to get ready for incoming nutrients, releasing enzymes and slowing down how quickly food leaves your stomach. Without chewing, juice passes through you far faster, hitting your bloodstream with that sugar surge before your body is ready to handle it. And here's another hidden problem. When you juice fruit, you often use more than you'd eat whole. It takes 3 to 4 oranges to make 1 glass of orange juice. That means you're consuming the sugar from all those fruits in just a few sips without any of the fiber to balance it out. Even fresh squeezed juice, without any added sugar, can pack the equivalent of 6 to 8 teaspoons of sugar in a single glass. The nutrient story isn't as rosy as it seems either. Juicing can cause the loss of certain vitamins and minerals, especially if the juice isn't consumed immediately. Vitamin C, for example, begins to degrade quickly when exposed to light and air. By the time you drink that store-bought juice, or even homemade juice that's been sitting on the counter for a bit, you're getting far less of the fresh nutrition you thought you were. Now, I'm not saying fruit is bad. Far from it. Whole fruit is one of the most valuable things you can include in your diet, especially after 50. The key difference is that when you eat an apple instead of drinking apple juice, you're getting not only the natural sugars, but also fiber, water, and a whole package of micronutrients your body processes slowly and efficiently. That slow release means your energy stays steady instead of peaking and crashing. So, what's a better choice than juice first thing in the morning? Pair whole fruit with a source of protein or healthy fat to keep your blood sugar balanced. For example, have an apple with a handful of almonds or berries mixed in a plain Greek yogurt. The protein and fat act like a buffer, slowing down sugar absorption even more, giving you fuel that lasts well into the morning. I'll give you a real-life example. Susan, a 62-year-old retired teacher, used to start her day with a big glass of fresh squeezed orange juice. She swore by it for vitamin C and a quick boost. But by 10:30 a.m., she found herself yawning, reaching for coffee, and struggling to focus on her morning reading. After learning about how juice affects blood sugar, she decided to try a simple swap. Instead of juice, she blended a protein smoothie with almond milk, a small handful of berries, spinach, and a scoop of protein powder. The difference was almost immediate. By the third day, she noticed she was making to lunchtime without the mid-morning slump. She also reported fewer sugar cravings in the afternoon. And within a couple of weeks, she said she felt less foggy and more consistent in her energy, something she hadn't experienced in years. The takeaway here is simple. Just because something sounds healthy doesn't mean it's the best choice for your body right now. Juice might be fine for a burst of quick energy when you're younger, but after 50, it can quietly chip away at your stamina, your focus, and even your metabolic health. The better option is to keep the fruit whole and pair it wisely. Your energy will thank you for it. If fruit juice is the silent sugar bomb of the morning, sugary breakfast cereals are the more obvious, but no less deceptive, culprit. And before you think, well, I don't eat those colorful kid cereals, let me stop you. Many so-called healthy cereals marketed to adults are just as bad, sometimes worse, because their branding convinces you they're a smart choice. Words like whole grain, high fiber, or heart healthy are splashed across the box, but flip it over, and you'll often find a very different story. Here's the first problem: the hidden sugar load. Even cereals that claim to be lightly sweetened often pack 10 to 15 grams of sugar per serving, and that's before you add milk. Many people pour far more than the listed serving size, doubling or tripling the sugar intake without realizing it. And sugar in this form, refined, stripped of most nutrients, hits your system quickly. It's not much different from eating cookies for breakfast, except cookies might actually have more fat to slow down the sugar rush. Then there's the refined grain issue. Many breakfast cereals, even those labeled whole grain, have been processed in a way that breaks down the grain's natural structure. This means your body digests them rapidly, turning them into glucose just as fast as table sugar. The result? A sharp spike in blood sugar and insulin levels, followed by the inevitable mid-morning crash. For someone over 50, that crash isn't just about feeling sleepy. It can trigger brain fog, irritability, and cravings that derail the rest of your day. Those cravings aren't a willpower problem. They're a physiological response to the sugar roller coaster. When your blood sugar drops, your body sends out hunger signals, often urging you toward more quick carbs. This can create a loop that's hard to break, especially if you've been eating cereal for decades. Another issue is inflammation. High glycemic foods like sugary cereals promote chronic, low-grade inflammation in the body, which has been linked to joint pain, accelerated aging, and even cognitive decline. Over time, regularly starting your day with foods that spike your blood sugar can make these issues worse, subtly chipping away at your overall vitality. The food labels don't make it any easier. Sugar rarely appears as just sugar on ingredient lists. It hides under dozens of aliases. You might see evaporated cane juice, malt syrup, dextrose, brown rice syrup, or barley malt extract. These all act the same in your body, flooding your bloodstream with glucose. Add in flavorings, artificial colors, and preservatives, and suddenly that heart-healthy cereal doesn't sound so wholesome anymore. One way to cut through the noise is to check the fiber-to-sugar ratio. As a rule of thumb, your cereal should have more grams of fiber than sugar, or at least an even balance. Most supermarket cereals fail this test miserably. The few that do pass often taste bland unless you add your own natural sweetness, which is exactly the point. You control the sugar instead of the manufacturer. So, what's a better way to get that convenient, satisfying breakfast without the sugar crash? Overnight oats are one of the simplest swaps. Combine rolled oats with milk or a milk alternative, chia seeds, and a small handful of berries. Let it sit overnight, and in the morning, you'll have a creamy, fiber-rich breakfast that digests slowly and keeps you full for hours. For extra staying power, add a spoonful of nut butter or a sprinkle of nuts for healthy fat. Another great option is a Greek yogurt parfait. Choose plain, unsweetened yogurt as your base, then layer in fresh fruit, nuts, and maybe a drizzle of honey if you need a touch of sweetness. The combination of protein, fat, and fiber works in your favor, providing a steady energy release instead of spike and crash. Let me share a quick story. Mark, a 58-year-old accountant, had been eating a high-fiber cereal every morning for years. He genuinely thought he was making a smart choice. But by mid-morning, he found himself struggling to concentrate, sipping coffee to stay awake, and craving something sweet. When we looked at his cereal's label, it turned out it had 11 grams of sugar and only 3 grams of fiber per serving, and he was eating about 2 servings at a time. Mark decided to try swapping his cereal for a Greek yogurt parfait with blueberries, walnuts, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. The first morning, he admitted he missed the crunch of his cereal, but by the end of the week, he noticed he wasn't hitting that 10:30 a.m. wall anymore. His concentration improved, and surprisingly, his afternoon cravings faded too. Within a month, he lost a few pounds, not because he was dieting, but because he was finally breaking the sugar crash cycle. The lesson here is simple. The healthy label on a cereal box means nothing if the ingredients are stacked against you. For steady energy after 50, you need breakfast foods that work with your body's changing needs, not against them. And that means ditching the refined carbs and sugar bombs, no matter how they're marketed, and choosing whole, balanced options instead. The third breakfast food on our list is perhaps the most classic and the most deceptive of them all: white toast with jam or margarine. For decades, it's been marketed as a simple, comforting, and even light breakfast option. But for anyone over 50, this seemingly harmless choice can quietly drain your energy, feed inflammation, and even put your heart at risk. Let's start with the bread itself. White bread is made from refined flour, which has been stripped of its fiber, vitamins, and minerals. What you're left with is essentially a quick-burning starch that your body digests almost instantly. Once you eat it, those carbs convert to glucose, spiking your blood sugar in the same way a sugary snack would. And as with fruit juice or cereal, that spike is always followed by a crash, a mid-morning fog, fatigue, and the all-too-familiar urge for another quick hit of carbs or caffeine. The problem doesn't stop there. When your breakfast consists solely of refined carbs, you're missing the key macronutrients, protein and healthy fats, that help keep you full and energized for hours. Without them, your body burns through your meal quickly, leaving you hungry again far sooner than you should be. This sets up a pattern of grazing and snacking that can make it harder to maintain a healthy weight, stable mood, and consistent focus throughout the day. Then there's the topping. Jam may seem innocent, fruit-based, colorful, sweet, but most store-bought varieties are loaded with added sugars or syrups. Even the no added sugar versions are still concentrated sources of natural sugar. without the fiber to slow absorption. Layering jam on white bread is like stacking one sugar spike on top of another. If you opt for margarine instead, you're trading sugar for something even more concerning: trans fats. While many brands have reduced or eliminated artificial trans fats in recent years, some still contain partially hydrogenated oils, fats that have been linked to increased LDL, bad, cholesterol, reduced HDL, good, cholesterol, and higher risks of heart disease. And for older adults whose cardiovascular systems may already be more vulnerable, that's a risk you don't need to take. The fix isn't to give up bread entirely. It's to choose a better base and pair it with nutrient-dense toppings. A slice of whole grain or sprouted bread offers more fiber, vitamins, and minerals, and digests far more slowly than white bread. Swap the sugary jam for a savory topping like mashed avocado, which provides healthy fats, potassium, and antioxidants. Pair that with an egg, or better yet, two, for a dose of high-quality protein that supports muscle health, stabilizes blood sugar, and keeps you satisfied for hours. Here's the brief science behind why this works. Protein slows gastric emptying, meaning food stays in your stomach longer, keeping you fuller. It also has the highest thermic effect of any macronutrient. Your body burns more calories digesting protein than it does carbs or fat. And when combined with healthy fats from avocado, you're creating a meal that offers both immediate and long-lasting fuel, without the roller coaster effect of refined carbs. Let me share an example. Linda, a 65-year-old grandmother, had been eating 2 slices of white toast with margarine and coffee for as long as she could remember. She liked the simplicity, the quick prep, and the comfort of it. But she often felt distracted and sluggish by mid-morning, sometimes even needing a nap after lunch just to make it through the day. When her doctor suggested she adjust her breakfast to include more protein, Linda decided to try a small change. Instead of white bread, she bought a sprouted whole grain loaf. She swapped the margarine for half a mashed avocado and topped it with a fried egg. At first, she thought the meal seemed heavier than her usual toast, but after a few days, she realized something surprising. Her morning fatigue had all but disappeared. She was staying alert well into the afternoon without reaching for extra coffee, and she wasn't hit with intense sugar cravings after lunch. Within a month, Linda reported that her focus had improved. She felt steadier throughout the day, and she was snacking less overall. The change was so noticeable that she began making the same breakfast for her husband, who soon noticed the same benefits. It was a small swap, but it made a big difference. The takeaway here is that breakfast should be about setting up your body for success, not sabotaging it with quick-burning fuel. White toast with jam or margarine gives you the illusion of a satisfying start, but it's really just an energy loan you'll have to repay with interest in the form of fatigue, cravings, and reduced focus. A nutrient-rich combination of whole grains, protein, and healthy fats, on the other hand, can carry you through the day with steady energy and a clear mind. Now that you know which breakfast foods to avoid, the next step is building a morning meal that actually works for your body, not against it. The key is balance. After 50, the most energy-friendly breakfast combines 3 elements: protein, healthy fat, and slow-digesting carbohydrates. This trio keeps your blood sugar steady, fuels your muscles and brain, and helps you feel full and focused for hours. For example, you might start your day with a veggie omelet cooked in olive oil, paired with a small bowl of fresh berries. The eggs provide protein and healthy fat. The vegetables give you vitamins and minerals, and the berries offer natural sweetness along with fiber to slow sugar absorption. Another option is chia seed pudding made with almond or oat milk, topped with a handful of nuts. Chia seeds are rich in omega-3s and fiber, while the nuts add extra protein and healthy fats to keep you satisfied. Or, for something quick and refreshing, try cottage cheese with sliced peaches or pineapple. The protein in cottage cheese supports muscle health, while the fruit delivers antioxidants and just enough natural sugar for gentle energy without the crash. Don't forget hydration. Mild dehydration can mimic fatigue, so starting your morning with a glass of water before coffee can give you an immediate energy lift. You can even add a squeeze of lemon for flavor and a dose of vitamin C. Finally, remember that change doesn't have to happen overnight. If you've been eating the same breakfast for years, start by swapping one item at a time. Replace juice with whole fruit, then trade white toast for whole grain, and so on. These gradual shifts can lead to lasting changes without feeling overwhelming. Your morning meal sets the tone for your entire day, and after 50, every bite matters more than ever. By removing these 3 foods, you give your body the chance to start strong, stay sharp, and dodge that mid-morning slump that robs your focus. Energy isn't just about getting a good night's sleep, it's about eating with intention. So tomorrow morning, fuel your body with a breakfast that supports your future. If this video gave you a spark, share it with a friend who could use the same boost. One breakfast change could change everything.